Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
Oh no, you did.
I was watching a YouTube video. Go figure. And
I was watching a YouTube audio, and
yeah. Well, no. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, this should be good.
But I was watching a YouTube video, and it was I think it was Vanity Fair, and they were doing a video with Kirsten Dunst, and she was reviewing all of her movies throughout her career, starting with when she was very, very young, and Interview with the Vampire, all the way to the movie. Well, past the movie Bring It, she went all the way to Fargo. But Bring It Bring It On was in the list, and of course the clips they were showing, and the first thing that came to mind was, I'll bring it go? I'll bring it. Yeah, because that was the big line. And then of course they did the spoofs on the movie. And it's been brought in, that whole thing.
Wow.
So anyway, when you said that, my brain just went there. So I apologize.
No, it's delightful. So that was a good. It's been brought in. I like that.
It's been brought in.
Bringing it on. How's your week?
Not great, John. Thank you for bringing it up. You and Lisa were great hosts and a hostess, and Kim was fun to hang out with. But y'all got me sick.
We made you sick. I think you said that while you're here. You guys make me sick, and then
I did
when you left.
But I'm feeling much better, and
good.
Actually, this is my first drink. It's Friday night, and I feel like I deserve it since being with you. So, it was a little over a week ago, and
are we gonna say what the name of the?
It's
the
Contradiction Bourbon.
Thank you. I was ready.
That was good. It was good, and you didn't even have to have Lisa sitting next to you.
No, how do you know she's nearby?
Well, I know she's always nearby, but. She likes to listen to the podcast at least twice
because we have a small
one-sided
house.
And that too. Yeah. Well, I was talking to Jen about that, and I said, John and Lisa's house is like the perfect size, and it. We always have this interesting conversation. I think we actually talked about this when I was there, not on the podcast, but I always say people make fun of me because I'm a bougie MFer. I will admit that. I am very, very bougie. I like the finer things in life.
You're a little
people
bougie.
tend to think that means that if I can afford it, I'm going to have a bigger house. That's not entirely true. Do I live in a bigger house? Yeah. I mean, it's not a small house, but it's not a mansion by any means. Mm-hmm. But it's just because I like the house and it's nice, and I like the neighborhood because it's in a nice neighborhood. But I would take a house that's half the size if it was built well.
Yeah.
And if it had nice things. Like your house looks like it's built well and it has nice things, it's a nice layout, and the finishings are high quality. That's what I look for. I would much rather have a very small, high quality house than a very large builder quality house, which my house is builder quality, and it drives me nuts. And I complain about it all the time.
I get the difference, and you're right about that. And thank you. First of all, it's a nice compliment, and your house. You gave us a tour. Essentially, I'm looking through it, and it's a beautiful. It's a beautiful place.
It is a nice house. It's falling apart, but it's nice.
Whatever, but slowly. But I always try to picture in my mind when you talk about it, and I've seen the backyard and the path through it that we
grass path.
About, but it's the grass path. But it's a very nice house, as you said, in a nice neighborhood. We had the ability to decide how big we wanted this. So custom builders, great if you can swing it. And so we did for the first time. And really the main thing we added was the 3-car garage rather than 2. And
you can only fit one car in.
I know, we can fit the truck sideways. And because honestly, if it were a 2-car garage, I don't think the truck could fit.
Probably
even sideways.
Not. No.
Yeah.
Right.
And certainly the Harley, we have fit our 2 previous vehicles and the Harley in our garage in Wisconsin overnight. In fact, over the winter, we actually had the Harley like stored in this tiny 2-car garage. But so it's nice to have a little space, but adding that was really the main thing that we added. Everything else was pretty much to what they wanted.
I would definitely do that as well. I really do like cars, and
yep.
I would probably have something is going when I can afford it. When this PoddiMouths podcast takes off, I mean, really takes off, like in season 7 at least.
Yep.
Maybe 8. I would definitely get a toy car, and I don't mean like a toy, like a little Hot Wheels car. I mean, I want a car that is just for fun, not like your Harley.
Let me make a suggestion then, and I'm not. You'll be surprised. I'm not going to say Harley. I was telling him we just got back from my nephew's house and in Vero Beach, the worst drive perhaps in Florida, straight across the state, and it's just boring. But we and there's no way to slice it. But he had bought. The guy has owned vehicles that I want to own, and I've told him that he and his wife, they're awesome people, love them dearly. They've had several, but one in particular, they had a Mercedes.
SL
Type B, a Type B, or what do they call it? Class B motorhome.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so nice. It was sweet with the rear bathroom, which would be me, because you had. Honestly, I don't want it on the side because then everything is tight in the whole van.
Yep.
Makes sense. Anyway, so that they had that. They have a Jeep 4x4, which you would love. It's the Wrangler, the Wrangler, and it's a great vehicle. They take good care of it. They've updated or upfitted it with some nice stuff.
I've got some stories for you, but go on.
Well, I'm sure, and you know all about that, of course. And they just they sold the Mercedes van, used it. I'm sure they did well with it, and he bought a Mini Cooper.
Oh, okay,
and it's the S. He found it at some dealership in the Northeast and had it shipped. This is the youth market now. Had it shipped to him, and the guy who it only has 9,000 miles on it when he bought it.
Wow!
And it's the British racing green with racing stripes and
nice. Does it have the flag on the top?
It does not. No.
Oh.
But it had a bunch of upgrades, wheels and tires, and upgraded to be like the top level of the vehicle, and the thing runs out great, and he let me drive it today. I hadn't driven, oddly, a Mini Cooper.
Really?
And I told him the only thing I would do differently would be a manual transmission, but he makes a good case for the automatic with the the flaps, wheel.
Well, the transmissions are so good now that it's faster.
Truly
it really is.
It truly is, and it's just fun
if that's
to
your goal.
zipping out of traffic. The point is, what a fun car to drive. That is something you behind the wheel would be.
I've driven Mini Coopers, and
it's just cool.
Jen wanted one for a long time.
Yeah.
And then we had one, someone traded one into the dealership, and I didn't snatch it up. But I brought it home. I actually took a break from work and drove it home so Jen could see it and test drive it, and she hated it. She absolutely hated it.
Really?
Yeah. So she didn't. She's like, no, we're not going to do it.
It
wasn't an S. It wasn't an S. It wasn't comfortable. It drove too much like beyond sports car, that's why some people buy the Mini Coopers is because it's small, it's fast, it's sporty. And even though that was kind of the appeal to her, it drove too much like one. I mean, you drive it feels like, and I'm talking purely suspension. I'm not talking about characteristics of the drive. But it feels like a 911. I mean, you drive it feels like you're close to the ground and you feel every pebble.
Well, they have suspension modes, so you can adjust the suspension. Right. Plus, in Justin's, my nephew's, he had a modified suspension that the guy put on that owned it before. He put on probably $10,000 worth of add-ons, including tires and everything. So it actually sits a little lower, and to ride it zip through it in traffic. I know what you're talking, or what Jen may have felt with a different one, but and maybe it's the S or maybe it's the upgrades. But it really was. It was pretty darn smooth.
I'm sure. Yeah,
there was some of this, in traffic, but Yeah, it was
keep in mind
than I thought it would be.
This was just a stock. I mean,
Sure.
this was not something
and
that
may
was
have been the problem.
Yeah, I mean, this was a used car. It had like 40,000 miles on it, and there was a lot of this, and this. But it doesn't matter when she got in it and she started driving. She hated it. So
I got it, and it's tough to overcome. And one last thing he had with the leather interior was a Recaro type seats.
Oh, really?
And holy crap! They just hug you like crazy, and it was fun because he's about my size, and so we switched drivers at some point, like you would do on a test drive at a dealership. And when we did, there's these two rather large dudes getting into a Mini Cooper, and it's fun but you get in there and you've got all kinds of leg room and everything. Anyway, it was a fun car to drive, and I enjoyed
awesome.
Riding and driving both. But anyway, that would be a fun toy for you.
Well, when I meant toy, I mean, in a dream world, and I'll tell you why this is probably not going to happen anytime soon. In a dream world, I would buy, because back up a little bit, we've talked about I leased this Jeep. And I did that for a reason, because I wasn't sure with the 4xe if it was something that I'd want to keep for a long time because of the battery and because of the new technology. It was the first year it was out, blah, 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 on and on and on. By the way, I'm not keeping it. But that said, in a perfect world, I would be, that would sit in the garage and I would get something else as a daily driver. Not that it's not comfortable enough. I've said that a lot of times. It is a great daily driver. I have no problem with it, but I want to buy, I want to buy it. I don't want to buy this one out, but I want to buy one, and I want to be able to modify it, and I want to use it for the mission that it's intended for, which for me would be camping and, having fun in, and convertible type thing. I want it to be my toy. I really do. So that was my ultimate goal. But I have been having problems, and I'm going to shout out a friend of mine who I work with. He doesn't listen to the podcast, but you never know.
Maybe he'll start.
Maybe he will. I'll let him know. And actually, he will admit, and he will say plainly, not such a nice way, which is funny because he is also a Wisconsinite / Minnesotan.
Yes,
but Mr. Tom, Mr. Tom Canal. Anyway, Tom had I don't remember what job it was, but he had worked closely with CDJR, and he said the minute I bought it, he said 30,000 miles. I currently have 32,000 miles on Fjord. And we all know about the vibration that I've often talked about. And why I'm changing it. So that's always been an issue. There's also a paneling in there that has vibrated since day one, which, when you're paying that much money for a car, it should not vibrate. Yeah. But I live with it because it's a quote unquote Jeep. I actually stuff between the seat and this piece of panel, and it stops it from rattling. But anyway.
Oh, well, it's fixed then.
I have had a few other rattles start to happen recently that I can't find and or fix. We all know about the recall, which I think we talked about. Did we talk about that on the podcast?
I think we did. I
know you and I have, but I don't remember. Yeah. Anyway, there's the recall on the battery, which basically they say don't park it in the garage, don't park it anywhere near your house, and don't plug it in until we have a fix. Oh, by the way, we don't have a fix yet. So,
oh my gosh.
And they don't have a timeline. So the other day I was driving, it was a little bit chilly, but I was driving Peyton to school, and I hit a pothole because right now Nashville has a lot of potholes. And I got what I can closely describe to most people, especially Jeepers out there. I got the death wobble. At 32,000 miles.
Driving it?
While I'm driving it, the death wobble. It didn't last, so it was like, I'll call it the precursor to a death wobble. I don't think it was a true death wobble, but that's what it felt like when I hit the pothole.
But let's be clear, a death wobble doesn't really happen with 4 wheels. A death wobble happens with 2 wheels.
Correct, yeah. Well, anyway, so, it was the front wheels.
It was the front wheels. Wobble, yes, I know, but it doesn't mean you're not
it wasn't the only time it happened. It happened a couple of times. So I called the dealership. Not my dealership, but the dealership that I get service at, which, by the way, I have another story. I'm full of stories from this week.
Good.
One that makes me feel really proud and really old at the same time. Anyway, so I call the dealership and I talk to the guys there, and I'm like, this is what happened. First of all, have we heard anything about the recall? No. All right. this is what happened. They said, oh, sounds like, and I already got it wrong because I don't remember what he said about it, but I want to say it was some sort of something in the steering bushing or something like that. I don't remember. But there's a part in the steering assembly that is malfunctioning in a number of Jeeps, not just the 4xe, but a number of Wranglers. Okay. And they've identified it, they fixed it, but the parts are all back ordered. So he's already got 4 on order, and they're all back ordered for about 4 months.
Wow.
So he said that's most likely what's causing it. All right, fine. Now I'm a little ticked off and going, okay, I don't think I'm keeping this with as many problems as I've had. I've had more problems with this Jeep than my other 2 put together, and I owned them for a lot longer.
Wow.
And drove a lot more miles on them. So anyway, I'm a little miffed. A couple more days go by. I take Peyton to school again because right now Jen is sick, so I'm taking Peyton too and picking her up from school. And my check engine light comes on. Huh. And I'm like, well, that's great. So I take it to the dealership. And this was yesterday. I take it to the dealership because I needed an oil change anyways. Yep. And I'm about to go on a longer trip for work that I'm actually going to drive. So I just wanted to make sure everything was ready anyways and get the check engine light. They put in the reader. They plug that in and nothing. It doesn't throw a code. Nothing. What? Like, that's weird. They take it back to check it out and to do the oil change and the tire rotation, and they bring it back out. And I went up, which is part of the other story, went up to the tower because I've got buddies that work at this dealership. Okay. And one of them who I actually trained and worked with, and he's still been working at different dealerships and then working at this dealership. Mm-hmm. They just promoted him in August to sales manager. And so, I mean, I'm really proud of him, and it made me feel so proud, but it also made me feel really old because when I was training him, he was just out of the Navy and in his 20s. Now he's in his 30s, but still basically running this dealership. And I'm like, good for you, buddy. That's awesome. So anyway, they come back out. I send the service writer back because he was new and to check on the check engine light. And they said, we can't figure it out what it was. Never threw a code. And the light just went off. It hasn't been back on since. Like,
excellent.
Great. Yeah. So I leave the dealership and I start driving home. I hit 70 miles an hour on the freeway, and all of a sudden my wheel starts going like this. So I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'll drive it a little bit further and see. Maybe it's just because I got the tires rotated and they're just because it's been a while. I was about 1,000 miles over where I normally get them rotated. So I'm thinking maybe they're just, And, but it only happened between 70 and 74. Not that I would go faster than 70 on the freeway, but I got that weird shake, and it hasn't gone away. It's only gotten worse.
They didn't rotate without balancing, did they?
They didn't balance it. That's probably what it is. So I'm going to have to take it back. I couldn't do it today, so I'm going to have to take it back tomorrow, Saturday morning, and get the tires balanced again because, So,
wow.
Yeah, I'm not very happy.
Now I need a drink. Jeez.
Here you go.
What the heck? Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. I actually, speaking of that, what you said the brand name once more.
This one?
Yep.
Contradiction bourbon.
Contradiction. I just bought some Whistle Pig.
Oh,
which I've wanted for a long time to try it.
Yeah.
But given where my bourbon price range is,
it's out of that.
I looked at some of them were the rye and some of the high level stuff. So I've got, obviously it's like their base car. I'm sure it's 40 something.
But you'll still enjoy it.
I'm looking forward.
Whistle
to
Pig is very, very good, but it's very expensive.
And that's one that one of our friends, Amy, who's been on the podcast with us, she I think has tried that before.
She has, and actually that was the first and last time. And I tried the higher level ones. Yeah, was with her. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, I need to be invited to those parties.
Right.
But anyway, that I'm looking forward to giving it a try.
Yeah.
Okay.
And all you gave me was Angel's Envy. I mean, come on.
I still like Angel's Envy. It's
I
also
do too.
in the same price range as
it's actually the picture I showed you of the bourbon. Literally, you can kind of see the edge of my Angel's envy bottle in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, you had that all set up. That's perfect. Okay. Funny question here.
Yep. You
'Cause I
had some
thought this
good
would
stuff
be-
to talk about.
Well, I'm not saying it's good stuff, but I think we'll turn it into good
Anything
stuff.
that comes out of your mouth, John, is good.
No, that's not accurate. But weird food combos.
Yes. I would say the tacos that I
Yeah.
had when Lisa and I went out, that was a funny combo. It was
Oh, yeah.
it was mahi, which not unusual when you're talking about taco,
Fish
because
tacos.
fish tacos are really good.
Right.
But all of the slaw stuff, it was weird. It was just weird.
Well, it was a tiki bar.
Yes,
So
it was a tiki bar.
I think they kind of do.
It's almost like Asian fusion.
Kind of like that, and it's because I'm sure they had, some different sauces on there that I don't remember what they had, but I remember you were talking about it, and it didn't surprise me too much. That place is it's a solid choice. Their food is solid.
Oh yeah,
It's certainly not exceptional.
I would frequent.
Yeah,
Jen and
it's
I
a
would
fun
frequent
place.
that place. Yeah,
but
it was
it's
very,
more
very
fun
good
when it's not cold as heck.
Yeah, cold or you're sober. I mean, that
was a problem too.
Yeah,
that's terrible. So that was an odd combo. One for my sister, since I just saw her yesterday and this morning. My sister and her husband are renting a Verbo or whatever for 2 months on the Gold Coast of Florida.
Nice.
So we drove over to see them and my nephew and my niece and their families. Anyway, very cool, fun time. For my sister, mashed potatoes and creamed corn.
Ooh, no,
Totally.
no.
She may listen to the podcast now that you've done that, because that is her exact reaction.
Oh, was it? Good.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so glad. Yeah, that was
hates that.
I don't like creamed corn. I can't stand. The only thing creamed corn is good for is when you mix it into a corn casserole. That's it.
I could do that too. My dad used to eat it. He would, of course, he'd probably pretty much eat anything, but he loved creamed corn on mashed potatoes with, whatever the meat was.
Yeah.
And it used to make her physically ill to watch
Really?
him eat it. And I was fine. I used to eat stuff that he would eat just to, get the reaction from her. But like rutabaga, for instance, was his too.
I love rutabaga.
I do too, but nobody else did.
Well, you and I were simpatico on that one.
Yeah.
On liver and onions. How about chicken livers and onions?
If it's done well.
Yes,
chicken
it has to be
livers
done
or
well.
beef liver, calf liver.
I don't think I've ever had
to be done. Oh, well, that's a whole different liver and onions. Whole different.
Interesting.
Most people don't know how to prepare it. If they know how to prepare it, you can find some people who are good.
Joe Rogan talks about beef liver and also all different types of liver all the time.
Yep. Oh, it's a superfood if it's done well.
Right. Kind of like Rocky Mountain oysters.
Similar to that, yes.
Yeah, now that's a weird food.
Lamb.
It's not really a combination of anything, but it's a weird food.
Lamb fries, isn't that what they were in? Was it one of the vacation? Chevy Chase, or was that a different? That might have been Fletch.
It could have been Fletch.
Yeah,
but it was a Chevy Chase thing. Yeah.
He ate the record of lamb fries.
Yeah, lamb fries,
which were cheap testicles.
Exactly. Well, and I'm sorry, folks, if I said this on the podcast, or because John and I actually do talk besides on the podcast.
They don't care.
But do you know that the cheapest cheapest cut of meat? What the cheapest cut of meat is?
Tripe.
Nope. You're close, but no.
Tongue.
Nope.
What?
Deer testicles.
That's the cheapest cut of meat.
That's the cheap. They're under $1.
Why. Under $1. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You already did say that, and I hope everyone is as disgusted as I am.
Yes, me too.
What else?
That's my goal.
What else for weird food
really
combos?
Is a good question. There are weird food combinations that are just really good too. Because I think the connotation I got was something similar to what you were saying with the cream corn and the mashed potatoes, which is not good. But
you think it's not good, but that's really to each the beholder.
Right. Yeah. We had last night.
The hell am I talking
Aldi,
about?
since we've talked about Aldi before,
Yep.
Aldi right now has, when you walk in and on the right-hand side, they actually have the barbecue packets of barbecue meat, but they also have, right now here in Nashville at ours, they have the, I don't remember if it's beef tips or if it's, what's the burnt ends. I think it's burnt ends.
I like
they have burnt ends and barbecue sauce, and it's been cheaper. So we've been getting that as a kind of a barbecue substitute.
Yep.
And last night we had that mixed with mashed potatoes.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, it's a weird combination, but it's so
that'd be good. That would
so
be good.
I actually had 2 helpings, which I don't need 2 helpings, folks.
Well, what if they're small helpings?
It was not a small helping.
Oh, okay.
It was just that good.
Our local barbecue place that we've been to has, as an appetizer, pork belly burnt ends.
Ooh.
And it's so good. And you just, trying not to touch yourself as you're eating it.
You're just wiping it on all your, it's just like I'm bathing in it. Yeah.
Yes, delightful. It's so good. That's a fun one too. I put down, and this was from our listeners have heard this before, Lafayette, Indiana, West Lafayette, Indiana, where Purdue University is. There is I can't say the name of the place, but it's like a staple at the university. It's not right on campus. It's just off, as I recall, but it's a diner, like a Greasy Spoon, and they have, I may be able to think of the name. I'm not sure, but it's their massive burger with, the usual stuff on it, plus peanut butter, crunchy peanut butter.
So good.
On the burger and an egg.
Yes.
And so I can do all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, my friend Matt, because we got to separate our 2 Matts.
But he's my friend too. But
right, exactly. I consider your Matt my friend too. But anyway,
he is.
So I was because I was sick, and Matt and I talk pretty much every day. I mean, we our job actually depends on the communication between each other. Jobs plural. Mm-hmm. He recommended, as I was sick, honey and garlic. So that is a weird combination as well, but actually tastes very, very good. But he took it a step further. He said, if you can't handle the honey and the garlic, take a graham cracker, put peanut butter on it, and then the garlic and the honey.
I'm listening.
I haven't tried it yet, but to me, that because I know what the garlic and the honey taste like, and I know what the graham cracker and peanut butter tastes like, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward. I think that would be
garlic, honey, graham cracker, peanut butter.
Yeah,
probably just missing bacon.
Probably. Yeah, but so that's another one. Oreo cookies and peanut butter. That's a weird combination that I absolutely love.
I could do that for sure. Fried anything, fried Oreo cookies. That's like carnival food, but I could do that. Fried Oreos. Fried Twinkies. Have you ever had those?
I have. Well, I'm from Minnesota. Come on, the Minnesota State Fair, they have fried everything.
That's it. And that would be, I have never had a fried Twinkie
Oh, really?
I haven't.
Oh, fried Twinkies are the best, man. They are really, I could eat 20 of those things. And not good. Wow. Yeah.
But what I could eat is in that same family, the apple pies, the Hostess.
See, I wouldn't do that.
Apple
I don't
pies.
like I don't like cooked apples.
Naughty good. Oh, well, then that leaves more of Lisa's famous apple pie for me. So
there you go. I'm sorry, Lisa. I'm sure it tastes fantastic, but
it's a
texture thing for me.
How about mushrooms?
Oh, I love mushrooms.
Yeah, she makes a really good mushroom pie too. I'm just kidding. I could.
Some people make mushroom, like it's kind of like a meat pie, but it's a mushroom. It's using mushrooms instead
with meat.
I bet that would be good. Yeah, well,
it probably wouldn't be bad.
Why not?
Except for vegetarians. Right. The last one I have is actually a drink.
Okay.
Odd combination. All in one, and you got to imagine this: vodka, tequila, rum.
Yeah, Long Island iced tea. Long Island iced tea.
It's a Long Island iced tea. I'm going, what the hell? I forget. I mean, I've had them.
I've had way too many in one sitting.
Honestly, one is way too many. If
it really is. It really is. Well, so people say that though, and there really isn't that much more alcohol in it. Technically, if you make it the right way, there is not that much more alcohol in it than a regular. It might be a double. Let's just be fair. Let's call it a double.
No, I mean,
you're not. It's equal parts of everything, and you don't put full shots in there.
There's one mixer. It's a splash of cola.
Yeah, it's like this. It's just a double.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think every one of these, even if you did a half shot of each, it's more than the Coke that you put in.
Well, yeah. You don't need a mixer. The mixer does not. Coke actually makes it worse because of the sugar.
Or Diet Coke, which has no sugar.
It has what's the chemical makeup? No, I know it's aspartame, but what's the sucralose?
Sucralose is bad for you. But what we're using for sweetener, since we've kind of jumped off sugar altogether, is monk fruit.
Oh yeah, Jen loves monk fruit, and that's a great if you're looking for a good barbecue replacement.
Yep,
monk fruit.
A barbecue replacement. What?
Like barbecue meat, like shredded pork. Use monk fruit. Use the actual monk fruit.
Oh.
And you shred it up. It's just, it has the same texture as barbecue pork, or very similar. It's never going to have the same.
No. That because honestly, hogs would go out of business then.
Yes, they would.
Interesting. Okay, well, I've never had monk fruit, but
really, but you have the sweetener.
Yeah,
you should give it a try. I think you might like it. It's got a great texture, and it just absorbs pretty much the flavor of anything else you put in with it or on it.
You know what I'll put in with it? Pulled pork.
There you go. Exactly. You'll never know the difference.
Yes, I will. Well, I won't care because I'll have pulled pork in there. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Okay. One last one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I've got weird food. It's not a weird combination, but it is weird food. It's pickled herring.
Oh, I love pickled herring.
I do too.
Do you like it? Do you prefer it creamed?
No.
Or just the pickled?
Just the pickling. Just the vinegar pickle. Yep.
I like either one. I'm a sucker for vinegar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just did a couple weeks ago, did jalapenos and onions in a pickling liquid.
Nice.
And they call it cowboy candy or something like that. It's pretty dang good.
That fits.
Pretty good.
So
I don't know. I was just going to say about the jalapeno. They vary so much. The jalapenos. So Aldi, they sell them in packs of like 4 or 5 of them.
Right.
And that's where we've been getting them. And it's just like one versus the next. You can never tell what you're going to get, how hot it's going to be. And you go, okay, I could bite into this one and I'd probably be fine. But it's kind of like jalapeno roulette because you just don't know.
That's awesome.
You just don't know.
So I was when we were doing the Jen's performance a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The audio guy, who is let's call it a friend of the Bellpack family, he actually did the music program when we had one for a little while. Mm-hmm. Great guy. We know him actually from Peyton's old school, Nashville Christian. Mm-hmm. Ding.
Sorry.
But so anyway, he has a new job, and he was telling me a little bit about it. And he books entertainment and stuff, or he's a company that manages entertainment that gets booked for events. And one of the events that he is working on, and actually will get a chance to travel to, is the Medora musical, which is in Medora, North Dakota, which is very near my father. And I actually have, and I don't have it handy, but I could look it up later. I have pictures of Peyton sitting on the Medora stage, the Medora musical stage, because at the end of the show, they invite all the kids down and they do a swear-in ceremony for the state parks or the national parks, because the national park, that's the Teddy Roosevelt National Park that's the entrance is Medora.
Cool.
So what made me think about that and the weird foods is they have, it's not called that there, but it's very close to what they call a steak fondue.
Oh,
giant a pitchfork fondue is what they call it.
Porchfic. I think we need to change
it's
that.
A porchfic.
It's a porchfic.
That's the
fondue.
New podcast. It's porchfic.
Yeah. Porchfic. Yeah.
No, it's a pitchfork fondue. And what they do is they take these massive pieces of steak, put them on a pitchfork, and then they just dunk them in oil. And they
Wow.
it's phenomenal. Like you would not expect that in there. And I mean, it's
Sure, I would.
The barrels look just like you would expect at a fish boil in Door County. And it's the same kind of setup. And I mean, it's phenomenal. And then of course, these huge helpings. It's all kind of, with the exception of the steak that you pick, because you pick the steak, they put it on the pitchfork, they stick it in, they tell you what you want it cooked at. So, it's got their medium rares.
Awesome.
It is so good. But I thought it's not weird per se, but it's a weird way of cooking really good food.
Yeah, but funny. I like it.
It is. And it's all open seating and it's outdoors, and it's just really neat. Someday, honestly, John, I would love for your family and my family to go there just for that. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff we can do there, but that would be so much fun.
That would be awesome. I love the idea. We've all had fondue, and we'd get some nice steak, and you get splatters everywhere.
Yep.
But oh man, it's so good. It is amazing. We used to do cheese fondue, of course, sometimes in Wisconsin.
We just did some recently, actually.
Which is bread? With bread did you use?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we actually, so we had a melting pot here in Nashville, but it was close to the explosion, the Christmas Day explosion. Oh, so they've closed it down, and we're anxiously waiting for that to come back, because we go at least once a year. I mean, it's not cheap, but you get filled up, and it's really a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing that again, because I really do enjoy the melting pot and any fondue. It's fun.
A fun place. Well, it's unusual because it's not something you do every day. It's kind of like, in an odd way, it's sort of like if you go to one of the Japanese steakhouses, whatever, with teppanyaki, the knives and the eggs, and like anything aki at the end.
Yep.
But yeah, it's similar to that. It seems like it's so unusual in the preparation that it just makes it fun and memorable.
For at least 5 birthdays in a row, I did. That was the tradition. I'd go home to Minnesota and we'd go to a teppanyaki restaurant.
Fun.
Strangely enough, right before I would break up with a girlfriend, except for the one that I have now that I'm married to, that's the only one that I didn't break up with after the teppanyaki restaurant.
Why was that? Because they didn't know how to eat it?
But it could be. I don't know. It just happened.
Well, no. I think we need to delve into that a little bit.
We should, but I'm not the one who realized that. It was my mom, who is no longer with us, who actually made fun of me for that. So
how many are we talking?
1, 2, 3.
Shut up.
4.
You are this is like a precursor to a murder show.
Yeah, pretty much.
It kind of is. I'm going to tell you.
It kind of is, but they're not dead. None of them are dead. So
no, they're not. But your love is dead. So I think. And Jen was the fifth, and you stayed with her.
Right. Oddly enough, Jen is the only one that's not divorced right now.
She survived. Oh, interesting. She survived. And did she go to the teppanyaki place with you?
Yeah.
So she survived it.
She survived it. It was a gauntlet. We threw down the gauntlet, and
apparently.
She came out victorious.
I'm sure she would describe it the same way.
I'm absolutely 100% sure.
Yeah.
You want me to go ask her?
Yeah.
As she comes up here bitching me up because she got sick?
Yes. Probably not a good time to ask her.
Probably not a good time. No.
That is something we need to explore. Can you?
What, her getting sick?
No, the 4 women that you dumped after.
I didn't. I didn't necessarily dump them. Yeah, I did. Okay.
See, every one of them. So there had to be something. Was it the seaweed that they couldn't? The Japanese.
Maybe they didn't catch the shrimp in their mouth. I don't know.
See, that's a whole different podcast.
Not what I meant when I said that, but okay, great. I'm glad you caught on to that. That was good.
That is funny that you name it that. Anyway, so
that might be the end of the podcast forever. I doubt it. I've heard worse on podcasts.
Especially on this podcast, yeah.
Right?
That is hilarious. It's because they couldn't catch the shrimp in their mouth. And you're fired. Okay. We may need to do that off the air first to make sure that we can do it on the air.
Yeah. I wish we could do podcasts like that where we would go to a teppanyaki restaurant or a steak fry or a fish boil or something. That would be awesome.
We can do all of that stuff.
It would just be weird. That's the one thing I don't think I don't think I could be a media influencer or a YouTube person because I would just be so not embarrassed. I'm not really embarrassed by any of that, but maybe you know what? We just have to be rich and have a staff following us because I could be on camera and actually talk about it if there was a camera person and it was a professional camera, but just to have my own phone or camera going like this the whole time, I couldn't do that. That would just be weird.
But I think it's because we've been spoiled and we've both seen both sides of the camera.
Yeah.
So
yes, that's very true.
And I will say my friend Leonard and I went into a restaurant outside of Detroit once.
Yeah.
A Spanish.
Are you speaking Leonard Bankhead?
Leonard Bankhead, my bud. How do you know Leonard?
He's been on the podcast.
Oh, he was on the podcast with us. Okay. Oh, you're really good, though. You're really good to remember his last name off the top of your head like that.
Hey, that's the impression he made because I tend to forget people's last names.
Dude. He makes me laugh. But we went to this restaurant, and he was my camera guy, and we were doing. They were making paella, and he was the camera guy doing it. And we walked into this restaurant at 5:00, probably in the evening, and there was a group of ladies having a bachelorette party.
Okay.
And when you walk in with a camera, even to this day, I maintain that you are suddenly the hero of that particular place. And they were not, I don't mean all over us physically, they were all over us attention-wise. And what are you doing? And so it was pretty funny. But that was Leonard, and he would tell you the camera makes all the difference.
Oh, I bet. Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm looking. I've got I've mentioned him before on the podcast, but he's a chef. But he likes to experiment with a lot of things, and he just on a whim went and bought a couple paella pans. Oh, and he makes paella. But now I can't, of course, find the image. Oh, but it's really cool because I have a picture of him actually making paella.
Oh, awesome. Well, that I'd like to see. The paella pan is actually pretty simple. It has a depth of about 2 or 3 inches, depending upon it, but it's big and round. And often, I don't know, cast iron maybe, but certainly metallic of some.
Yes, yeah. This one I think is cast iron.
Well, that's cool.
Oh, yeah. I'll find it and send it to you. I wish I was going to show all of our fan, but
well, especially if it's your friend and happens to be listening, it would be nice to show him without.
Oh, he's not listening.
Maybe he is. Maybe
he's working right now.
So what? He can do it later. He doesn't have to listen live.
Well,
this is what happens when you drink.
I haven't had enough. That's really the crux. The problem is I have 20,000 photos on my phone.
You know what? Me too. And I can never find the one I want. And I don't.
Exactly.
I do not label them properly.
Yep.
So, I'll search for people and it will bring up like a peephole. And that's a problem. So
I'm going to try something. I'm going to see how smart Apple actually is. Paella.
Do
it. It actually worked.
Well, what's wrong? Why wouldn't
Nothing. There it is.
Why would it not work?
You see it?
You're showing yes, that's a bigger one than I've seen.
Yeah, that's Victor.
Massive.
And he's
that's your guy. Oh, that's awesome.
Guy. He's making paella.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite ingredients in paella is I won't be able to say the name now, but I know what it's come on. John, use your head. I'm turning into Joe Biden, I swear. It is.
Have you seen the Babylon Bee stuff lately?
Oh, yes. I've seen it all. It makes me. Those guys are so funny.
They're so funny.
And it's so funny. And they often will attack, silly stuff like that. but they just are so creative
Yes.
when they do it. It's just incredible.
Yep.
So,
it's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
Ingredients, that's it. Let's see what I'm missing. Basic. Come on. I just am sad that I can't remember it because it's delicious.
This one is the one that man ruled too senile to stand trial. Still fine to run the country.
Yes. Nice.
I love that one. It's my favorite.
It's sad. It does not make me happy that that is such an issue.
Right.
But it is. And
it is.
It's not parsley. It is not that. It's not that. It's really expensive. I have some here. This is what pisses me off, that I can't come up with it. This one has lobster in it. That would be delicious. Whatever. Hey, tune in next week.
Lobster in it? Yeah.
Well, this one does. This guy is doing
that would be really
lobster.
Good.
I know. How bad could that be? Here's what I don't like about
lobster mac and
like
cheese.
That is, I love that. Try not to eat it. What I don't like is shells, and I think we've talked about this before. So they put mussels in.
Yeah.
I don't like anything they serve you that you have to shell something before you eat it.
Yeah.
I got to dig in with my hands, and they're hot as hell too. You pull the shells up, and they
I'm not
as
a big fan of lobster as I am of crab legs, like king crab legs. And
both
I would agree with you though. If someone could just give me a big pile of crab leg meat, I'd be happy as all get out. But unfortunately, they don't do that.
Unfortunately, no one does that.
No one does that. They make you actually work for it because no one else wants to.
They have to stop.
Yeah,
not doing that.
And that's making me hungry. All of this food talk is making me hungry, and I'm past dinner time. So I think I'm gonna say it's been real. It's been
fun, but
hasn't been real.
It's been real fun too.
It's always a blast. I know.
Yeah, because
I love that saying, and I hate it because I think that it's a great that saying that it's been real, it's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun.
Yeah,
I think it's a fun saying, but it's never true.
You know what the saying that I love most?
What
is she couldn't catch a shrimp in her mouth?
Yeah, that's a good saying. I wonder who said that.
We should play that back.
Source? Yeah, we really should.
I can source it. I bet our listeners
should source it. Yeah.
Too.
Well, AI can source it, so why would you?
Couldn't catch the shrimp in her mouth. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be one of the titles. And
yeah, probably. Something about shrimp.
It's going to be something about shrimp. Yes. Always good to see you, brother. I'm glad we had this time together.
Yep, me too. Folks,
and all of you.
Don't say it yet because I got to tell him where to go to find out more stuff. All right.
They know where to go.
Because where? Do you know, John?
Well, they're finding Chach. PoddiMouths.com. There you can find all of the links to all of our merch and all of our other social sites, and we would love to see you there. Hey, you need to check out the shirts and the hats. And
the shirts are great.
It's awesome. The shirts and the sweatshirts are great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We actually just started the TV show Fargo. So it makes me feel like I'm at home. Yeah.
You are definitely.
We'll have to talk about that once we get through that. We just, by the way, we finished The Righteous Gemstones. So we're done with season 3. Fantastic TV show. Anyway, we'll have a whole other podcast about those programs here in the near future.
As well as not being able to catch the shrimp.
Right, exactly. Well, no, we're done with that. We're done with that.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No,
all right, folks.
You later.
John, good to see you. Talk to you soon. Everyone have a great week. We'll see you again next Tuesday.